Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And things have gone from bad to worse for Snow White, for Disney. So not only did the movie bomb at the box office this weekend, and we're going to talk about that, because even Forbes is admitting that it's a bomb, but now the Little People actors are suing because they wouldn't hire them for the movie that's basically about dwarfs and little people.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I have to listen to what's going on. I'm not sure much of a case they'd have because they have the creative choice to do CGI. It would have been better if they didn't, but they're suing over it now. So, you know,
yeah,
must have some kind of grounds or they wouldn't be trying at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, because this is in California, they're going to do a rally, I guess. They're talking class action lawsuit. And in California, given the labor laws out there, I mean, I don't know what kind of case they have, but they might be able to argue that was discrimination. Like we're going to, create a movie that theoretically should create opportunities for little people actors, and then we're going to cut them out completely.
Yeah, but see, what's going to happen here is if they do that, it's going to mean that no studios are going to create opportunities because they're afraid if it doesn't go to the right people, they'll sue them. So I'm not sure how much would they have to stand on this. But, you know, it's interesting that Disney has yet another law, potentially, because they're planning it. They haven't done it yet. Potentially having another lawsuit against them.
I mean, the hits just keep on coming, right? So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Hey, I'm gonna shill our pins here because you can still pick them up. They're on their way in. This is the Shadowbinders pin set. Got to Kickstarter. They're already on order. They should be here in a couple of weeks, and
there's a limited number of extras.
Very limited. Yes. So if you want these pins, go to Kickstarter. I think we have like 24 sets or something that you can buy yet. So thank you very much for the support there. So I got to give a hat tip to, I think Vinny sent this over. He sends a lot of tips. Disney faces being sued over Snow White's snub of Little People coming from the Daily Mail. All right. So the Little People stars of Snow White are planning they weren't actually in Snow White. That's the problem. They're planning on a class action lawsuit against Disney for replacing them with cartoons. A top U.S. lawyer has been appointed and is expected to file a claim against the studio alleging discrimination. It's the latest headache for the company over its box office bomb, the remake of the classic 1937 cartoon. It said last week it was revealed that Little People actors were planning to rally outside Disney studios in California to protest over its use of CGI to portray the dwarves.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think you're going to be hard pressed to win this one. But beyond that, though, what they might have working in their favor was that Disney didn't say they weren't going to put dwarves in it until after Dinklage made his comments. And then they said they were going to replace with magical creatures and not use dwarves. And then they didn't. So that's why they weren't hiring dwarf actors. And they turned around and replaced them with CGI. But again, I think you're going to be hard pressed because it wasn't like you were promised this job and it was taken away. I'm really trying to see, how this
I mean, if it was a case of like, we had a bunch of, I mean, this is where it's gonna be hard. Yeah. Cause if it was like, okay, we actually hired a bunch of Little People actors, we put a casting call out there for Little People actors, and then we decided to not use them at the last minute or whatever, then I think you probably could argue, or if, they put something out there like Little People not apply for, roles as dwarves, but if they had planned to use CGI dwarves all along, then they just say, we wanted them to look, somewhat like the cartoon characters, but obviously
they
not
don't.
Quite. They don't.
But there's always, the argument too that they did hire a person with dwarfism to play, the one
Grumpy.
play Grumpy, and he said, he's the one that made the comment that said, they could have auditioned for those, but they weren't, because they were probably boycotting it at that point. But he also was one that said they didn't have enough actors that were, actors with dwarfism that had the talent basically to fill 7 roles, which was really douchey thing to say. He's not grumpy, he's douchey.
Well, I was going to say, now they're all grumpy. All these actors are grumpy. And they talked about Allie Chapman. We talked about her before. I don't I'm going to be honest, Allie, no offense intended, but I don't think you were going to get a role as one of the male dwarves in this anyway. But yeah, she said 7 talented little people actors could have played those roles in the live action remake, and they chose to use cartoons. It's an insult and discriminatory. But it's not just this. I think that's it. I think, they keep doing this because they're trying so hard not to offend little people actors that they're replacing literally every role that would have been perfect for them, including Wonka. Why does Hugh Grant have to be an Oompa Loompa?
Right.
You could have gotten somebody else to play the Oompa Loompa, but they don't want to be insulting. So instead, we're just going to take all the jobs away so nobody's insulted.
Yeah, but you still insulted people,
Yeah. So they were talking about how they're getting hammered on the DAS passes too.
Yeah, the DAS pass thing. I mean, we've talked about that at length, and I think the DAS pass thing is absolute crap. My daughter was even telling me the other day about, like, even if you have like a condition that's narcolepsy or something like that, they won't give you DAS passes. It's just, and I'm telling you why. And I've been saying this since day one. They're doing it because they want you to pay for their lightning lane.
Yeah.
Or that's what they want. They want you to pay the upcharges, and that it's about making money. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Disney's DLC. I mean, that's basically what it is at this point.
Everything's DLC. Someone was joking that they're going to fast. Well, you joked before about fast pass in the bathroom. Somebody else said they were going to do it too, and they were going to call it Fast Piss Plus.
Fast Piss Plus. They already do it in Europe, you said, right?
Yeah,
France,
you have to pay. I mean, when I was in France, you had to pay to use the bathroom.
So I could see him doing it. So yeah, we got Paul Tassi. Remember Paul Tassi? He was defending Star Wars against the nasty alt-right chuds. Yeah. He's admitting. I mean, come on. This is Forbes. This is a numbers. This is a paper about numbers and math and finance, and they're saying, yeah, Snow White is bombing. Absolutely, it's absolutely bombing.
Oh, there's no way you could look at this and argue that it's winning. I mean, Disney's trying, but and then they keep promoting these things. They keep putting sponsored posts up, and they're like, what's the most talked about film this year? Some people say it's or critics are saying it's the best live action adaptation yet. They're putting all kinds of money into these recent advertisements.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you see it spelled out like this, though. One, this list, the biggest opening with the lowest opening for a remake, Lion King is the biggest, but then Mufasa is the lowest.
Yeah, no, Mufasa was the lowest, but it went on to do quite a bit of money. I don't think Snow White's going to do that. Like Mufasa, you didn't see the backlash against it. I mean, people were really not happy about them retconning the origin story for Mufasa. But you didn't see the amount of discussion about how bad it was as you're seeing with Snow White. I don't think it's going to do what Mufasa went on to do. I think it's going to end up dying like the Marvels.
So they said, brought in 87 million opening weekend globally with 43 million domestically. We've had multiple people write us. We had, I had some people from Japan. I had some people from China. I had people from Italy. Writing and saying that theaters are empty. Like
I'm sorry, I was like, yay, Japan, because I want to go to Japan. But anyway, I want to go to South Korea really, really, really bad too. So yeah, it's not there. Everywhere you look, the theaters were empty. I mean, I was looking at some of the busiest cinemas around us on Saturday and Sunday, and the seats were not sold. Some seats were sold, but like the theater was nowhere near sold out. It was like very few seats were sold. And I think some people were going to buy seats at the theater. I'm sure that happens because when you're taking kids, it's cheaper to buy it at the door. But it's just, I just didn't think it was going to do well. And they were saying 100 million. It didn't even come to the 100 million globally they were hoping for.
No. I love that they have to admit it. I mean, they have to admit it. And, Tassie used to be pretty balanced. I don't know what the hell happened. If he just wanted to become a contrarian to try to,
like we were talking about yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was weird. Like for the longest time, I'm like, yeah, he's actually pretty okay. And then he was all like, but those nasty Star Wars YouTubers. I'm like, yeah, but they're pointing out the obvious that Star Wars is a brand in decline. I mean, maybe, we don't have to make 50,000 videos about it, but it's like, I mean, you're not just, beating the dead horse. You're kicking it and pissing on it.
They make 50,000 articles. So what's the difference?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But one thing I noticed though, Snow White and Mufasa were the last 2 live action remakes they had, and they're both doing shit. Mufasa went on to do better, but it opened to crap. people are tired of the live action remakes, especially when you don't feel like it's necessary. Lilo and Stitch, I think, is going to do really well because it looks really good. I think that's one people actually would like to see
Lilo
in
and
live
Stitch
action.
actually does look good.
I think it could translate to live action, but there are a lot that you just didn't need to do live action of. I don't even think you need to do live action Lilo and Stitch. I would argue completely unnecessary. But does it look good? Yes. It looks good in comparison to Mufasa, in comparison to Snow White. They're going to probably make money on that one. They might do well with Moana, but they really need to stop the live action remakes. It is just wasting money.
Yeah, close to the worst performing live action Disney adaptation ever. There are very few ways to spin it positively.
They're trying though.
Cruella's not on the list. Cruella did even worse than.
Well, Cruella's hard to gauge because that was another one that was released during COVID.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that was, I think that you had to, was that one you had to pay for? I don't remember, but it was released on Disney Plus, and it was one of those.
So he does point out the same things you guys pointed out in your review. A single bright spot of the film is said to be Rachel Zegler's singing. Gal Gadot is criticized roundly.
She's
I mean, you said she looks good, but like it's not her best role.
No.
Right? And the overall structure, the script, and the directing. And they said that even Snow White and the Huntsman opened better.
Yeah, they mentioned the dwarves being really creepy too, which ties into them getting sued.
Yeah. Yeah, they said that it's a bad situation. There is no, and there are people out there trying to defend it. There are YouTubers out there trying to defend it and be like, no, guys, it's fine. Then what'll happen is, once we get past the stage of denial, then it will be anger, and it will be like, well, because of YouTube and YouTubers, this movie bombed.
It's going to be misogynists, racists, because they keep trying to run with that. They don't want Snow White because Ziegler's not white. It's like, yes, people point that out repeatedly that was a little weird, including people who aren't white. But most of it, people didn't like Ziegler because she was a colossal bitch. And that's probably a big part of it. She's arrogant, she's entitled, and she's an activist. And even if you agree with some of her points, the way she does them does not help. Then she also shit all over the original and basically said it was weird and creepy and that scared her and everything else. And that didn't go well with people who were fans of it.
No.
It also didn't need to exist. There's a lot of reasons, but they're going to blame misogyny, racism, bigots. They'll find reasons to blame everybody else except themselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, guys. There it is. Now they're going to get sued on top of it. And but the media is actually realizing, yes, it's a bomb. And like 2 weeks from now, nobody's going to care because Minecraft.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. I mean, the next week is going to be a drop off. People, the word of mouth, I don't think is good enough to bring people. So it's going to even have a bigger decline. And then Minecraft's going to come. And at that point, you might as well just take out the theater because people aren't going to go see it. But the lawsuit, it's not even filed yet. They're planning it. I don't know how far this is going to go because I don't know. It depends what angle they take. I'm not sure they have enough grounds.
Yeah.
You'd have to be like, then that means, again, like every studio, they'd have to do a certain way and hire real people. And that could open Pandora's box for other roles that, could be better served in CGI, but you have to hire a real actor because if you don't, they could sue you.
We have to go back to using real horses in movies and have them get hurt again.
Yeah, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just don't know how far this is going to go because I don't know if there's enough grounds for it.
I think this is more about getting a payout from Disney because these lawyers get a cut. I mean, that's the thing too. Like lawyers will take cases even if they're the dumbest things ever because they're getting a cut of
someone's
whatever
paying
the
them.
It is. Yeah, somebody's paying them.
If you lose, you're paying them. If you win, they're paying you.
Yeah,
but someone's paying them. But it's just like, to me, I just think this is going to be a hard win. I think that they're right to be upset at Disney. I completely agree with them. I think that they use live action actors. It would probably be way better. Either make them very cartoony or hire live action actors. You tried to meet in the middle and it was creepy AF. My daughter still talks about how Dopey freaks her the hell out. I see comment after comment, but I took my kids and they were okay with it, but the dwarves freaked them out. I'm on their side as far as that was what shit would happen. I just don't know if you can prove this.
Okay, if I were in charge of the Snow White remake, or a Snow White remake, I have a wonderful.
But you could because I think it's public domain. Okay. So
I would make it a horror movie, a dark fantasy.
They're making one right now.
Okay, but I wouldn't.
And the dwarves are like evil.
Oh, I wouldn't make the dwarves evil. It'd be like Pan's Labyrinth. The huntsman actually did stab Snow White. She's in the forest bleeding out, but she's hallucinating about talking animals and cartoon dwarves as she dies.
Okay, that's just sad.
The end. And then her
Now
prince
you're
comes.
scaring me.
Then her prince comes at the end, but it's too late.
Wait, am I bleeding somewhere and I'm hallucinating?
No, I'm just saying it would be but like she has this beautiful fantasy, and it would be like Pan's Labyrinth. She's got this beautiful, oh God, to spoil Pan's Labyrinth. She'd have this beautiful fantasy world going on or whatever, but ultimately she dies at the end, and the prince finds her dead, and that's it.
Well, you know, I mean, if animals do start coming up to me, then I'll have to question whether I'm alive or not.
You're in that. I think it's called the Bardo. It's called.
I don't know. So if I start hallucinating animals or being my friends, everybody check in to make sure I'm not lying
It's
somewhere.
like you're on your way out. Either that or Snow White's been slowly poisoned by apples and she's hallucinating everything.
All the seeds for the arsenic.
Yeah. It's like a slow death. Like her stepmother's been trying to kill her for years. And she just keeps giving her, apple pies, apple turnover, apple sauce. And it's all got poison in it. Because she doesn't want to be. So then she's just hallucinating all the talking animals. That'd be kind of interesting too. But she still dies.
Now someone's going to run with this now. You know this, right?
Oh, I know they will. Well, you're welcome. Cut me a royalty check, right?
Right, there we go. Are we going to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.